welcome back to EN-RICH-MENT'S online learning. My name's Miss Debbie, and thank you for joining me again. Today we're going to be making chicken salad croissant sandwiches, and they are so delicious. Everyone wants to know what my secret recipe is. There's no secret to it, it's just the ingredients that I put together, but I'm going to teach you how to do it, and you can make the best chicken salad sandwiches, just like me. So let's have a look and see what we're going to be using. First, we're going to be using a couple of cans of the canned chicken. And I'm not sure why this makes the chicken salad so good, but I think it's because it was canned with the broth right in there, if you can see that. Canned chicken, canned right with the broth. It's pretty good. But I don't only use the canned chicken. I also go and get this rotisserie chicken from Giant Eagle. Chunked up chicken, pulled right off of the whole chicken rotisserie. Or if you don't want to use that, you can always just boil up some boneless, skinless chicken breast and it'll work just as good, I promise. Next, we also have our washed in cold water grapes. Now you could use any kind of grapes you want, but I like to use these ones right here, the dark purple ones. Those just have the best flavor. They're seedless, okay? And another ingredient that we're going to be using is, of course, our celery. We have half parts of mayonnaise and Miracle Whip. So we're going to do a half and half mixture with those. Now, it's optional to use some kind of nut. Most of the time you would use walnuts. This time I have pecans. Either or, it works just as good. All right, so before we get started, I showed you all of our ingredients, and if you remember from my class, what was my very first rule? The very most important thing that we always do before we start cooking. You remember what it was? The very first thing that we do before we cook. We wash our hands. We absolutely always must wash our hands before we cook. That was my #1 rule in class, if you remember. So today I've already washed my hands, and I'm going to tell you a little something. I'm going to wear some gloves because, you know, when you're cooking and preparing food for people in your own home, it's okay if you don't have to wear gloves, but if you are preparing food for somebody else, it's always important. Now, if you remember from class, we would wash our hands, we would get back from the bathrooms, and Miss Debbie would pass around the box of gloves, and we would all glove up, remember? These were kind of fun, right? It's okay. Now, we're going to get started here, but first, I would like to give a very special shout out to my friend, Damon Pledger. I just want to shout out to you and say, hi, Damon. So, I seen that cookie that you made over Easter, and I really like it. You keep up the good work and keeping yourself busy during these times, okay? And I miss you. I can't wait to get back to the classroom and get to cooking with all of you. And if you would like a shout out too, leave a comment down below. I'll shout you out in my next video, okay? Now, this is what we're gonna do at first. Let's move our celery off to the side here. We're going to start with our very first ingredient, and that's our chunk chicken. I'm just going to use a couple of cans of this. We're going to put it right on in there with the broth and all, and I think the broth is what makes it taste good. Right on in there. it up. Doesn't look very good, but I promise it's gonna taste great. Just chunk it up. We can put this bowl off to the side because remember, we're not just using canned chicken, we're also going to cut up our rotisserie chicken or cooked chicken breast too. So let's get this opened up. Let's set the chicken down on the cutting board like so. Sometimes you could just get it to crumble, just like that. We'll just take out the big pieces and we'll put the crumbles right on in the bowl. Okay? All right. Now, how we're gonna do this, we're just gonna cut it, chunk it up nice and easy. See there? There we have it. Now I'm gonna guess. Let's see, this is about a pound of chicken all together with the canned and with the rotisserie chicken. So what we're gonna do with that, just blend those two together just like this. Oh, it's gonna taste so good. Let's chop it. You know what? The wooden spoon might work a whole lot better. Go. So our next ingredient, I'll put this off to the side. We're going to put in our celery. Celery in your chicken salad is going to give it a nice crunch. Now remember what I taught you in class about working with the knives. You want to curve your fingers down so that your knife runs right along the knuckles. So nobody's cutting off their fingertips there. Very important. We're not cutting fingertips off. We're running our knife right down the edge of the knuckles, just like that. So put the tips of the fingers down onto the celery and then give it a little curve. I hope you can see that. Watch your thumb. See, we're going to use our knuckles as a guide. And look at those nice big chunks of celery. Just going to bite down into those. It's going to give our sandwich a nice crunch. Nice healthy crunch. Few more of those. And it's up to you, however much you want to put in it. It's entirely up to you. You can put in as little or as much as you like. Stir it around and see. It's looking good. And I think it's a little sparse, so I'm going to just use one more big fat one here. Slice it down the center. We have 2 pieces. I'd say that ought to do it. All right. Let's have a look at it here. Looking pretty good. Now, our next ingredient, we're going to put our seedless purple grapes in. Now, how I like to cut these is in half and in half again. So this was one whole. Cut it in half. That's 2 pieces. And then remember, we always like to do our math in class. Remember that? Now we have fourths. 4 fourths equal 1 whole. This is another one of those ingredients where if you like a lot of grapes, use a lot of grapes. If you like less grapes, you don't have to use as much. I think grapes are what makes this recipe. So while we're cutting grapes, maybe you all can tell me down in the comments below what you've been doing, how you've been occupying your time with yourself. I know you're not going to school, or how's that online school going for you? I sure miss seeing you and having you in class. Let's just do a couple more of these. Let's see how much we got. Let's give that a stir around and see if we need some more. I just eyeball this. Looks like we could use a little more. Oh, run away, great. Push those fingers. See a couple of seeds in there. Let's see how it looks now. Oh boy, you have the nice big purple grape chunks in there, and the nice great big green celery chunks in there. This is a nice healthy sandwich. Now, on to our next ingredient. We have our mayonnaise and our Miracle Whip. We're going to use about half and half. First, the mayonnaise. It's about a cup. If you put a cup in and it feels like it's a little dry, you can always add more to it. Then we'll put in our Miracle Whip, and that's going to give it a nice tang. Let's make sure that it's nice and wet enough. Oh, it's looking pretty good so far. Great. I wish you had smell-o-vision. Perfect. If you want to go a little on the lighter side, you can always use light mayonnaise and light sodium-free Miracle Whip if you want to. And that's okay. Just about perfect. Well, our final ingredient that we have here is the nuts we talked about. Remember, I told you this time I have chopped pecans. Oh, I'd say that's about a quarter of a cup. Go right on in there. Give that a nice stir. Make sure that everything is incorporated real good. All right. That looks done to me. So, I bet you're wondering why we have the lettuce here. This is romaine lettuce. Wow. That's great flavor for a sandwich. And also, good for you. I'll feed these to the guinea pigs. So we have a nice piece of romaine lettuce that's about the size of our croissant. Nice buttery croissants. Put us a nice piece of romaine right there in the middle of our croissant. Get you a nice spoonful of your chicken salad. Heap it right on in there. That's a good sandwich. Look at that. Perfect. That's enough for a whole meal, actually. What do you think? Or, if you're watching your carbs, you can always just skip the croissant and fill you up a nice leaf of romaine with a heaping spoonful of your homemade chicken salad. Have it. Let's get one more. Voila. It's easy peasy. All right. There you have it. Thank you all so much for joining me for this edition of Creative Cooking. And as I know that we are doing the virtual online enrichment classes right now, I can't wait to get back and have you in my classroom again. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.